want to run the time for 29 minutes from now. And first of all, before you start, if you want to move closer to the screen, because I have a lot of code, that's a highlight. That's probably not easy to see if you are sitting a bit further away. And yeah, maybe you just spend 10 seconds for people to move to the front row if you feel like. Not necessarily, but I think that's interesting. So it not yet, I haven't started the timer yet. So. Alright, let's do it. Keep doing. So, in Japanese, minasan konnichiwa. Good morning, hello everyone. So, welcome to my talk on creating fast-filling web app. And in this talk, we basically talk about web performance in general. So we see it in the upcoming slide. But if you notice recently, not sure if you're following on social media, on Twitter, there's this website. People start to talk about it because it feels so fast. It's like notice how when you click a link, it just runs at the page. There's no visible delay kind of stuff. It just feels so fast, even when you search for something. Notice like when they type on the search bar, the results just come in. It feels so fast. It is fast, but it also feels so fast because you never really see anything kind of similar in the web. You likely need to see a bit of delay here and there. And something like that. Probably that what you may see a lot of times. So if you see a slow website, maybe you get frustrated. When you see the fast website, you kind of enjoy the experience a lot more. I think that's the whole point. And if the user see that the website is fast, maybe they kind of trust the website a little bit more and stick a bit longer. And that is understandable why web speed is considered one of the most important factors on the user experience. Because if you are not able to see the web page at all, it doesn't matter what is the value that the website brings to the user. Or you don't even see like the design, if the aesthetic and like side of the website is important. They don't even see it. So web speed is considered the most important. That absolutely. And in the topic of web performance, we obviously talk about how to make website fast, and sometimes we call it web speed. But there's one other factor that less people talk about is considering is making a slow process seem fast. I know this kind of sound quite interesting, but I want to show you an example. So when you search for the flight ticket on anywhere.com, you notice like the loading speed here, it's not just the indeterministic loading, it kind of display like flying around and there's some text here and there. Even though it's quite slow, I mean, like when we talk about it, it's kind of like 15 seconds. I counted. It doesn't feel that it is 15 seconds, even though it is 15 seconds comparing to this thing. This is not my view. I think that's just a perspective. So in the topic of how to make a website feel fast, technical term we call it perceived performance. It has a name behind it. It is very subjective. It is not actually a metric. But if something the user feels fast, I think it's fun. Doesn't matter how fast the API is. But if they feel it slow, then it's considered slow, right? And the user expectation about web performance is increasing over the year. Where starting the web, it's just, 8 seconds. And now it's, 2 seconds. And maybe one day, if you go to the website, you see the speed, it's just slow. So, we talk about a few subcategories in web performance. I think there's resilient overall load time, there's making the website as fast as possible, loading as fast as possible. The bit of smoothness and interactivity, and the last one is perceived performance. There's many things to talk about, so I'm not trying to do it in just half an hour today. I want to, but I don't have enough time. So we're gonna just pick a few small topics that we can might have and quick that could have an immediate effect, which is three simple things: loading speeder, instant experience, and lazy loading. Sound very common and not that palatable, but let's see what we can do. Before we get started, my name is Trung. I'm the Google developer expert, and I'll run Angular Singapore. I also speak at conference. Then Japan is absolutely my favorite country. I'm not sure how many of you are based in Japan or come from other country. But I've been going back and forth in different seasons. There's Sakura, there's Momiji. I went to this Total Rocket shop and I just went yesterday. Just so you know. And I'm in the past 10 years I've been living in Singapore, the sunny tropical country. It's
video is here, so you're
okay, sorry. This is affecting the live stream experience. And yeah, let's talk about Singapore. I'll show you visit Singapore. Nice, thanks. Yes, beautiful. I assume. Yes, so I have something to for everyone. And lastly, with Ascender, a Singaporean-based company, we've been trying to make it loyalty as accessible as possible. And that's what we're trying to do. So that is the company. You can check it out. I want to share the slide as well, so you don't have to scan anything. Talk about loading speeder. It's probably when I think about 10 years ago when I started the career, I did everything that I thought I was right. So simply when I press data, I show the speeder. It doesn't make sense yet to you because it's not totally normal. Until one day my boss came to me and said, "Why so slow?" And it's interesting because when I look into the API, it was like 250 milliseconds. It's okay, you know. And the code, that's just a few lines of code. You have some state. Sorry, the some state, you know, the loading, the errors, the data. You show the loading to true what it is. Start loading, and you hide it when it's done. Simple. So I was like, it's kind of okay. It's working on my machine. But he said that it's still slow. And like the more we have a conversation, it's quite like I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. So he pointed out to me something that I didn't realize. That for some people, when you have a very simple data structure, and you just keep seeing a spinner on the screen, I shall show you one more time. You go inside one, you see the momentary, this blue thing. And if you just interact it every 10 seconds, why so slow? Can it be faster? And that's what he tried to tell me. And when we are looking into all the API responses, we said maybe we cannot hide it. That's absolutely. Maybe the user network is slow. Maybe our API server is down. I don't know. It's take like 2 seconds. We cannot just hide it completely. And we agree that because Singapore internet is actually very fast. If you notice, I think one of the fastest internet in the world. And our base customer in Singapore, and the API is returned quite fast, like 90% of the download, less than 200 seconds. So we agree that maybe we can delay the speed. We are not showing it immediately for the user that has a fast network connection. Maybe it makes sense. So then I want to do it. I'm a software engineer. And I should remove all of the unrelevant code here, but you get the idea where I should set a timeout. I mean, that's the easiest thing to do. I don't know. I mean, you think of it, you don't set the thing immediately. You set it in the next 300 milliseconds. And if it is so fast, then it's just clear. The set loading through doesn't even get run at all. So you don't see the speed up. But if it takes longer, it really takes longer. Set loading through is 4, then I have set loading to 4. So it's kind of has a backup. And the result is quite interesting. It's still instant. It's not crazy, but it kind of feels a little bit smoother. You don't just see this splashing. And if it takes a bit longer, like 300 milliseconds longer, then you still have it working. You have this backup option where you don't really completely hide it for every single user. So that is kind of considered working. And I know it sounds like a very small consideration, but we got a case study from top. I take from a top in Australia, where really the loading indicator sometimes can be perceived, make the user perceive that website is slow, even though maybe not necessarily the API and everything, the server, everything considered the same. But if you just keep seeing it all the time, it could be a factor for the user to feel this solo. So I'm gonna give you a real example. That's the Spotify. Probably using it every day if you're listening to music. And notice how when I go into a playlist, it is slow. But you don't see the three dots all the time. Because Spotify could help you deep down into the edge, very close to the user. The API can be so fast. And if you're just changing playlist every single minute and you see the speed up, I think that's a problem. That'll be like, there's something wrong. Why they are so slow? And then you might just look on YouTube. No, just kidding. I don't see the the view is a bit different here, so I was like, okay. Some of you might ask, if your API fast and it is easy to fix, but if our API is slower, because it needs to really, talk to a lot of suppliers, collect a lot of data and stuff. It is slower. What can you do about it? And I think that part is very related to perceived performance, where you can still possible to engage the user a little bit further. When you notice that in Coursera, you see there's a loading, and then see the text, there's a progress bar. But after a while, they just added more text, say, whole time your lab will be ready soon. Like after 5 seconds, they give you a bit of hint. Hey guys, we're still loading it. Don't give up, don't close the tab. So it's giving a bit of confidence on the user that the site is loading. One more example, maybe you see it more, is Lighthouse analyzing, where it can take really long, 20 seconds, could be longer. And after a while, you see that they just give you a bit of hint, there's something, there's some text on the screen as a pen note, whatever, right? This is some hint and trick that just kind of keep you engaged a little bit more while the site is loading. So it is standing on the MDN that it is possible to keep the user engaged, even though the process can take long time by showing some speed, some tip and trick, and sometimes with a joke if it is appropriate. So that is something to consider when you are really dealing with this kind of problem, where doesn't matter what you try to do. The supplier API just so long, takes just so long. It's not our problem. It could be other third party like problem. And that's the best you can do. That's it. You cannot. There's nothing you can do. So I think with that we ended the learning spinner. I hope this can bring us some new perspective. But the next one is how to elevate the third part even further, where we call it instant experience. It's similar to what you see in the beginning. They did a lot more things to make that kind of instant experience. But I want to talk about one thing where you see this data structure. Maybe your mind, you might think, if I have the same object when the user go to the detail page, maybe I can just reuse the data. I'm not sure you ever thought about it, but I thought about it a lot. Like, they just go into the list, they look for something, they go into the detail, and maybe we just reuse data. And we don't need to look into this, it's very complicated. But in the code, it's so simple. You introduce a new variable, global, a state somewhere, state management, global thing. And you set the data when you load the list. How easy is that? I has the list already. I set it. When you look for the detail, then I try to find from the list first before I'm trying to make an API code. That's the easiest thing you can do. But of course, in the computer science, it's not about setting the task. It's difficult. It is the easiest. But the question you might have is like, how long can you rely on the data before you need to get it fresh again from the server? That is super tricky. Like, is it when you load a new list, or when the user make some changes, or after like 2 minutes, after 30 seconds? All of that is like a code you need to implement to make it work. And the more code you write, the more things to implement. So the short answer is let's use the library. And I don't know if maybe you're not very straight with React Query or SWR, but basically React Query now can support like different frameworks framework accesses. Depends on the wrapper that they build and SWL just React. So we look to React also to make things easy. Right? Let me see. So in the old code, that's the old code I had, that's the old hook I had. Right? So it had which means initially I didn't really use a minor. Okay. Okay, sorry. I just noticed that just now when I move the mic closer, then I hear my voice a bit. Okay, anyway, sorry, for this one. But you get the idea, you have more data to maintain what you want. You want to have a state to maintain the loading, you want to have state to maintain error, and have the data. And use query, React query, it just bring one hook in, and you can use it, which is called use query. It does most of this stuff behind the hook for you. Like, they're gonna take care of the loading and error, and there's more useful thing. Let's say you have 3 different components that try to fetch the same API at the same time. You write the hook, then likely it's gonna make 3 API code. But with use query, they know it good enough to just say, hey, I just do one thing. Right? So things like that is something to consider. And it is achieved by passing a query key. I have like 15 here. And then we pass in the query function. Query function is how you fetch data from some as simple as that. Nothing crazy. And when you use it, you still have the same, almost the same thing. You have error, you have easy loading. Maybe the name is a bit different. You have data, and you can name it to different thing that you want. And then there's more things like I mentioned. And let's do it the same for the list of vehicles. So when you do it, let me run this thing again. When you do it, you have a first API code initially. When you go into one, notice there's one API code. That's normal. You go back, there's the list. You go into one. Just wait for it. You go into one. Notice there's API code. But the difference is you see it like immediately because the data you have been loaded before. So it is still showing you the data from the cache, but at the same time you try to make a background request to get the fresh data from you. And in uquery they call it a stale data, which you still get the data from the cache, but the API request can still be happening. It is opposite to something we call a fresh data, where the data can just be returned from the cache itself. No extra API code is being made. And the next question you might have is, how do I make this thing fresh? Now I know how to make this thing fresh. It is super simple. You add in something they call it stale time. 30 seconds. I put it 30 seconds. It's just a number I had in mind, fun. But sometimes there's an API that doesn't get revalidated that fast. It's something that the user doesn't change a lot. So you can put a bit longer. But the idea here is that this stale time is 0 by default, which means every single data when they get it, it's just stale immediately. You still get from the cache, you got the benefit, but you still need to make an API to validate it the next time. So by setting this in within like 30 seconds, they will not try to make an API code again. So I'll show you a video. Notice I already have the vehicle here. And when I go into the detail, that's an API. That's easy. But when I go back to vehicle, and I go inside one, 30 seconds. Right? Because that 30 seconds, it kind of guarantees that you go in so fast, the data is still considered fresh. And then after 30 seconds, and if you need to visit the same place again, then we need to make an API. So we kind of get a bit closer to what we want. But the first time when the user load the data, that's what we want. We have to set the initial data. But before that, I just show you how the difference is. Like stale time now is fresh, and then without stale time, it's just stale. Alright, so that's the difference. That's what you can see. And like we said, we want really to have an initial instant experience, and you just do something we call initial data. That's the trick. Is like a function that provided by the use query. You can provide it, and what you do is that Oh, you know, that when I try to fetch the detail, I'll try to look for the key of the list of the vehicle or whatever, name it. And even inside the cache, and I'll take the data. I'll try to find my ID, and even inside, I'll just return the ID. So I return the object to you, so you don't have to make an additional API. And of course, we need to put in the stale time for 30 seconds. So it doesn't really try to fetch it very often. And the end result really sustained. I have only one single API call, and I go into one, I go into other, I go into two, I go into another 5. It's still relying on my data. And if the time is exceeding, you can configure it, and it will try to fetch a new thing again. Or when you go to the detail pane immediately, where the list is not there, it's not inside the cache, then you will try to still fetch data from the API. So you are safe, there's no issue. You just try to send the initial data, and that's it. And which make you kind of have similar, not same, but similar experience we had before. Usually, when we show, just feels so fast. You click it doesn't like try to load anything at all. This can help the user fill up the website faster. So if you know it's not gonna help you on all the instances, but you build something like an admin panel or like CIUD where this operation is happening all the time and the data structure might be shared. Then it could be helpful or something. We never rethought it, but it's gonna help our CS team maybe something in the internal team they are using it every day to just configure something. So it's working. And we are going to the last part. I have 10 minutes left. Which is lazy loading use an iframe. It is very easy thing, but why I wanted to mention because images is becoming a super expensive asset on the web. Like the top 10% of the website, they just load it in I don't know, like 4 megabyte of image, and you have 1 gigabyte of data money. I don't know. It's not good like I will jump to you. But what you can do is just put in a lazy load, which is simply if the image is not in the viewport, it's not in the visible, and it's not in that offset screen, you are not trying to load it as the user scroll and you load it simple like that. And whichever you have a different option. You have you can put in the data sources, you use this class, and then there's a JavaScript library. It's gonna try to load it when you see it, when you're scrolling. Or you have different way. You can have a low quality placeholder, dominant. All of that can be done in JavaScript. We are not gonna talk about it today because this is old stuff. But I don't know for some reason like a lot of people doesn't know that the browser can help you to lazy load English by just putting loading equal to lazy into the English tag. And most of the developers when I speak to, they don't know one. I'm not sure if you know what it beforehand. You can raise your hand. That's one. Great, awesome. 2, okay. 3. Now you know it. And what does it look like? It actually been supported since 2019 in Chrome. It's been long now ago, like 5 years ago. And in Safari was like 2022, which is 2.5 years past already. You can free to use it. And if it doesn't have support, then it's just load as usual. There's nothing crazy. So I'm going to give you a very extreme example trying to load 400 images of a cat when I load the UI. It's not very clear. Okay. Is it? Try it. Sorry. Try. Okay. Notice how this one is just keep increasing. So keep increasing. Because it's like 400 images alone. And then when I change the code inside, it's just adding loading to lazy. That's it. That's the only line code that I change. That's the only. That's fine. When you load it, that's fine. That's it. That's fine. And as you scroll a bit, you notice how there's more images being loaded before the user even reaches them. So it's ready before they go there. So it's kind of lazy load, but it's not like when they go in the view and they see it and we try to load it. It has the offset sizes where you try to load when this threshold is exceeded. Right, so it is super helpful. And I'll just give you some stuff like comparing 23 megabyte and then 100 kilobyte. That's too easy to see. Like 5 image and 400. But the question you have is, I don't have this 400 image. I don't want to try to do it. What you're trying to say? Actually, we also not trying to do 400 image at once. But at center we have this kind of sub result. And we have like 24 independent, but each one of it is carousel, like 10 images for once. So we have 240 requests when you should open the page. That's it. 240. Cannot be. So we try to put just the image loading. What we just thought, I try it. Only one thing. And you can get down to maybe, I don't know, 20, like 30. Like between like 430, 240 and 30. That is a lot. Not like saving like 7 times. But of course, it's not the best thing you can do. Right? The more you can do is like put in a bit more optimization. You can get down to 1 megabyte. So from 70 to 1 megabyte, I think you can just put it into your CD. You want to redo it. I optimize it 70 times. So fast. But you can notice this a lot more optimized is done by putting some query parameter at the end. And it's just simply a service that we use. You can use a lot of other services that provide this capability. So just to give you an example, here is the original was almost 500 kilobytes. The after one, because you don't really need that big size. Like maybe the image coming from the other supplier. It could be so big, it could be like, I don't know, like this. And you might just need like 500 high. That's it. And it can get you to like 8 times differences. That's something to consider when you do web application, depending on a lot of assets like image and video. That's some of the real stuff. Like we are serving original size at 60 kilobyte, but the one that we deliver to user only costs like 5 kilobyte after 6 kilobyte. So it's a lot of saving for user. It saves time and data for user. So that's something for you to consider. Even though the user might not see it, it's just loading, right? But you want to save the data for sure. Better experience. And it's going to work with lazy as well. Right? I'm sorry, with iFrame. Loading lazy work with iFrame, so you can consider to use it. You are relying on it here and there. And the only caveat is it doesn't work if you disable JavaScript. So if you disable JavaScript, it's just trying to load everything. It's no error usually. But it doesn't break anything at all. Like you don't put in the data source and using a JavaScript library, and it might break the site if the user doesn't allow JavaScript. And I think we are very close to the end, but I'll just show you one last use case. That's Netflix, right? You can see that, preview page. And that was considering a lot of options when you view it. There's a initial page load, and then after the initial page, they try to load for the user everything without the user asking for it. So they're still doing it in subsequent, like 2 phases. But after they do a lot of testing, they found actually we don't really need this full payload at all. You just keep the initial page, and if the user is calling, then it's up to load for them. So what Netflix found is that is the best performance approach that they found when using this kind of complicated UI. And it saved them like 70% of the image size, which is a lot. And yeah, I think with that, we come to the end. Of course, there's a QR code. You can download the slides, take a look. But for loading speeder, do remember to delay when appropriate, show only one if necessary. For instant experience, use a library. Right, so you use React is simple. And for the last thing you can apply next day is browser support, image and iFrame lazy load. So you can apply it today, tomorrow, next week when you go back to work. So that's something to consider. And actually that was the real thank you slide. ありがとうございます。Thanks so much.